Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, based on where you're watching us from. So I'm so happy to have all of you here today on this beautiful session. Now, we know that this American dream can really be tiring, especially when you do not know the route or how to go about it. Sometimes you may know, but you don't know the right way to do it. And that's why there is the need for someone to help guide you or direct you the right way you should go. So today, I'm very privileged to have one of the powerhouses when it comes to this journey of American dream or this study abroad journey. I mean, for many people who are here in the States, he is the inspiration behind all of them. I mean, I can't say all of them, but majority of them, including us, he is the power mind or the brain behind us or the inspiration behind many of us who are in the States now. So as someone who is also aspiring to make your American dream a reality, to travel to the States, it is in the right path that you also learn from this honorable person. And so in a second, I'll be having the Fred Effect to join me here. So you can put in your comments down there if you have any question. Now this is the time you have to make answers for all your questions, or you get answers for all your questions, because this one is a powerhouse. So kindly put in every comment you have any question in the comment section, and in due time I will be reading it out, or Mr. Fred will be responding to them. And then going along, I'll be posting the link in the comment section, so that if you want to come up and ask your question, you can also come up. But that won't be now, that will be at the latter part of the stage. So if you want to come on live with your camera and then come and ask your question, stay tuned, and then I'll bring you live later on. But then what I want you to know is that you can't be greedy about this. You cannot be greedy about this. So make sure you share the live session to your friend on WhatsApp, on TikTok, everywhere possible. Make sure you share the live to them to also come and learn from this amazing man. So you can start bringing in your questions, and then Mr. Fred will respond to them. Like I said, this American dream thing can really be tiring. It can really be frustrating, especially when getting documents. And I mean, I know for many people, getting transcripts, getting recommenders can really be tiring for you. It's so frustrating. You get it. But that is not the only thing. But there are other ways you can go around this, that your life wouldn't be as whimsical as it is for many of you. So that is why there is the need for you to learn. I can see many people are in the house already. So kindly make sure you are bringing in your comments, so that Mr. Fred will respond to that in no time. And as I said earlier, going on the show, I'll be bringing, or I'll be posting the link here, so that you can join in live and then ask your question whenever the time is due. Okay. So make sure you have your pen with you. Make sure you have your notebook with you, because the Fred Effect will be sharing some tips, some schools, some ideas, or some information you would have to jot them down. As I told you earlier, before I came here, I had a notebook, a very big notebook. I used to write all the schools, all the ideas, every research I did, every school I did about their program, their tuition fee, everything. I had a book. So anytime I wanted to make a decision, I just take the book, and then I go through and look at which one is the best one for me. So make sure you have your notebook with you, because the Fred will be bringing in some of the ideas. You would have to jot them down. Okay. So as I said, I'll be bringing the link also here, so that you can come in and request and then put down your comment. Okay. And for some of you who haven't watched the previous video we did earlier, this is the time you have to go and watch that, because we were building on that particular video where we spoke about how you can gain a scholarship, or if possible, fully funded scholarship. And then we spoke about many things. So the Fred Effect is going to build on that idea we generated in the last video. So make sure you go and watch that particular video. Okay, so I'm very privileged to have the Fred Effect here in the house. So let's bring the Fred Effect on. Okay. Okay, so the big man is in the house. Mr. Fred.
I'm having a little bit of issue connecting my camera, so let
Oh,
me
okay.
just get up.
Okay. So the Fred Effect will join us in a jiffy. So I can see some comments here already. Let me bring some here. I got admitted to St. Louis University in civil in the civil engineering program 2 weeks ago, but no funding. How do I? Okay, so Fred Effect will respond to that. Let me pull up some comments here. Blessing says, my SHS is not giving me transcript. Oh, please. Okay, the Fred Effect will respond to that one too. Let me pull up Gabriel. Afrani Gabriel says, please, I hold a 3-year diploma in education in addition to 1 year bachelor top up in education. I want to apply for master's degree. How do I go about it? Okay, so kindly keep bringing in your comments. The Fed Effect will respond to all of them in a jiffy. Please, can I change my B1 to F1 after entering the US? Okay, so all these ones, the Fed Effect will respond to all of them. How do we join? Okay, so I'll pull up the link here so that you get access to that. You can come request through that link, and then I'll bring you on. We are live. Okay. Oh, Matilda, how are you doing, Matilda? Okay. Kofi Yesu is already in the house. Okay. How do I apply for school or fill the form? Okay, Mr. Fred will respond to that in a few moments. Ishmael, is it Ishmael or Ismail? Anyway, Musa, thanks for being here. Okay, let me bring August. August says, I hold, okay, I think I read this comment. My SHS is not giving me. Okay, so those of you who are not getting the required documents for your application, hold on. I mean, I'll make sure I push the Fred to talk more about that because it looks like many people are facing a lot of challenges with their documents. I have admission to University of New Haven. Uh, for release of my I-20, I need to show a bank statement of 40,000 cost of attendance. My scholarship decision hasn't been updated yet. Okay, it looks like your question is not complete. So if you can continue. Oh, yo. Okay, Bright is also in the house. Uh, please, I hold the three. Okay, I think I've read this comment already. Kupo says, hi, everyone. Hi, Kupo. Okay, so please keep on bringing your comments. Mr. Fred will join us in a few moments, and then we will start the conversation itself. He's having a little challenge with his camera. I mean, anything can happen at any point in time. Okay, I had admission to University of... Which school is this? Anyway, I don't want to bite my tongue, but no funding. Wow. Okay, so we will discuss all. For those of you who are talking more about funding, there is a full video about funding. So if you mind, you can go and then search on that video, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so I have Mr. Fred in the house already. So let us jump into the show. Mr. Fred,
Hi, Philip. How good to see you.
good to see you. No matter what happens, our life will come on.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you're welcome, Mr. Fred.
Thank you, bro.
Uh,
Thank you
it,
for
it,
having me.
all right,
And
all
hi,
right.
everyone.
Hi everyone. So it's really a pleasure having Mr. Fred in the house. So I mean we are some few minutes behind time, so I would want us to jump into the conversation straight. Even though Mr. Fred looks so tired, I mean looking at his camera
Yeah,
and how everything was frustrating. But then for the love of our people and to see your dreams and aspirations come through, that's why Mr. Fred has made time today to join us in the conversation. Okay, Mr. Fred, I mean, I always love to hear your story because moving from Ghana to the States some years ago, going through all those challenges, I would definitely want to know more about you. So, Mr. Fred, who is Mr. Fred?
so Fred is an individual from a humble beginning. Um, I'm from Ghana. For those of our viewers who do not know that, and then I had my high school education from Sunyani Senior High School. So the capital of Brongahafo now is being divided as Sunyani, and so there was a senior high school there which I graduated from, and from there, I moved to University of Cape Coast in Cape Coast. It's called UCC in Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
and then from UCC I moved to Ohio University, and that's where I had my first master's, and then moved to University of Kentucky for my second master. So roughly, it's been a roller coaster from Ghana doing my national service
Mm-hmm.
in the northern part and going there for the first time. And so I moved all the way from the northern part of Ghana straight to the US. So
Wow.
that's a little bit about me.
That's really really interesting. I mean, I am tempted to know more about the what's the district again. I mean, I always want to hear that story, at least a bit of that story, to motivate people to spike up the interest in people when applying for school. So I mean, I want to hear more, a little about the Bolly Bamboy. I mean, a brief just about the Bolly Bamboy story.
Yeah. So after bachelor's degree or after college in Ghana, there is a compulsory or mandatory national service, which is a year. And so when I graduated from the University of Cape Coast, I was posted to teach in the district of Bolibambo. And I have lived all my life in the southern part of Ghana. So that was the first time I was going to the northern part of Ghana. And so the district I was posted in was called Bole Bamboy. So that's the name of the district. But the town or the community that I was posted into is Tinga. So it's the Tinga township is in between Bamboy and Bole. And so I was posted there to teach at a junior high school, and then I was
Mhm.
also teaching at a senior high school at the same time. And so it's a bit challenging when you have limited access to internet connection, to be able to have access and also be applying to schools and be teaching at the same time.
Mhm.
That was a bit challenging for me because of internet connectivity. So
Mhm.
I was teaching as a national service personnel, and that was when I started my study abroad journey to start working on applications to schools and all that. So funds wise, because national service was 559, and that is approximately maybe $100 by
Mhm.
now, if I'm
Mhm.
correct. No, it's not
No, no,
actually.
less than that.
They're like about $25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the national service allowance in a month. And everybody who has been a national service personnel knows that this amount is not paid on time.
Yeah.
So you could start working, in 2 months or in 3 months' time. That's where they start working. Now, unfortunately, I also needed money to work on either going back to UCC for my documents and getting recommendation letters and all that. So what I did was to forego my graduation because I was in the northern part of Ghana. My school is in the southern part of Ghana, Cape Coast. So I needed money for transportation, and you need to get some suits and all that to
Mhm.
come down to UCC for graduation and go back to northern part of Ghana. Meanwhile, I also wanted to get my documentations, as at then. So I needed to make a sacrifice between using the little money I had to go for graduation and come back, or skip the graduation, and which is very important. I'm not encouraging anybody to
Mhm.
skip their graduation, but I
Mhm.
needed to make that trade-off so that I
Yeah.
could get the money to go back to the school to get my recommendation letters and other things in order to start the application. So I didn't go for graduation. I'm
Wow.
sorry, you see, this was the reason. I didn't go for graduation because I needed that money to go and pick my documents from UCC as at then. So I got them, and then I started the application. Now another challenge, which and now shouldn't be a challenge, was the schools that I had to apply to, which requires application fees in
Yeah.
dollars.
Mhm.
Remember, 559 as of then was around $50 or so. And
Yeah.
so it means that 1 month allowance is going to be used to pay for one
One
application.
application.
And I didn't even know that, there are some schools you can just talk to them and
Mhm.
get an application fee waiver. I
Yeah.
never knew that. So, I was able to pay for only one school.
Wow.
So I paid for High University, And even with that, I made a mistake with it because I didn't know the difference between the fall semester, the spring semester, and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So I mistakenly, I think I applied for spring or no summer semester, one of them. So I paid the $55 with the only money I had taken that month from Bolibam Boy. National Service Allowance. And then they go back to me to say, that, oh, I made a mistake. So I should change my starting semester to fall semester. And that will require another $10.
Wow.
Which is like $10 was like, is it 50? But the money that I have taken from National Service Allowance,
Mhm.
I have used it to pay the earlier. So
Yeah.
the location in Bolibamboy made it a bit challenging because internet access and you need internet to work on this process,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so if I get an email from the university, how to get access to internet connection to even reply was a
It's a
bit challenging.
challenge.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I specifically asked the Freddy Fair to bring up this story so that it inspires you to apply. Many of us watching me now probably are in the bigger cities, Accra, Kumasi, or Nigeria, Abuja, wherever you're watching us from. You are in a big city, you have access to the internet, and if you are reluctant to searching about schools, you are not inspired to, I mean, you're not ginger to do this application thing. That's why I brought the Freddy Fair. I mean, I brought this particular topic for the Freddy Fair to highlight a little on how his application went, where he was, and how the processes went for him. Because you should be inspired by this if you are in the city. He was, I mean, in a small village in Bole Bamboy, and he applied and it worked. So be inspired to start your application. Okay, Mr. Fred, let's jump into the conversation. I mean, many people, especially from our part of the world, it has always been someone should do it for you. It has always been that. You, I mean, going through the same route, or you are in the States now, or you've been here for years. Does someone necessarily need someone like an agent or someone to do this application for him, or personally they can do it themselves?
So the simple answer is no. So especially when it comes to the US process
Mm-hmm.
where a visa interview is required and all that, right? Except maybe the person is extremely busy and have the resources to talk to a competent person to assist in the process. I encourage everybody that if you're done with a bachelor's degree, what can't you type? Your name, the date of birth, or what uploading a document. So primarily, if you can use a phone, you can be on TikTok, you can be on Instagram, you can be on social media. It means that you can work on the application yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But the challenge is when you don't know what to do. And that's where I always say God bless you to Fela for always being on TikTok and explaining that this is how you do it. It's understandable that there are some websites that you cannot even access depending on your location. There
Mm-hmm.
are some schools you may know. Some people even think that New Mexico is part of Mexico. They don't know. Yeah, so there are some information that you are lacking, and that's why somebody like Fela is producing. So if you're watching us now, please subscribe to the channel. We have to be above 100. I have 1,000 subscribers after this live. So please do us a favor and subscribe. So Fela is always explaining that this is the name of the school. This is how the website. This is how you can do it. So some of the challenges we had when we're applying, it's not there at the moment. So I spoke about when it was challenging for me to even know that because in Ghana, you don't apply to schools for free. So
Mm-hmm.
it never occurred to me that I can email somebody and ask them that, please, can you waive application fee for me? And that was simple, like they would say yes. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that. So I thought it was challenging getting money to pay an application fee. So if you are super busy and you have the resources to talk to a competent person to do it for you, absolutely fine. But if you are done with a bachelor's degree, if you have high school qualification and you want to study, you going through the process is a learning experience in the first place. And in some countries like the US, where you go for a physical visa interview, sometimes if you didn't do the process yourself,
Yeah.
that could lead to a denial because they may ask you some questions
Mm-hmm.
about some technical stuff that you would have known if you had gone through the process yourself, and
Yeah.
you would not be able to tell, right? So
Yeah.
I encourage that if you can, just get enough information, know how to go about the process, and then there are people there to talk to, ask questions like, how should I do this? How should I go about this? And people like Phila is always happy and willing to assist you through that.
Oh, okay. So, with that said, I want to be curious about this. Is it everyone? I mean, everyone who can apply this, especially when it comes to the grade of that person. Because people, I mean, most of the times people will send me a DM, oh, I feel I had 2.2 point something, 2.5, 2.7, 2.3. But then mostly we hear about first class students. I mean, growing up, I thought it was only first class students who should get admission to the state, because we saw US to be, I mean, US, Charlie, US there, So I thought only first class students could go. But then you going through this process, I mean, with grading, at what point or with what grade can someone stand a chance of getting admitted to a school in the state?
All right. So a lot of the perceptions we have is as a result of where we come from, right? And that's why I made mention of the amount to pay for application fee. It never occurred to me that somebody could say that apply for free, or somebody could say that I'm submitting the application for free. Probably from where I'm from, we will not even take you serious if you say we should apply to something for free. So what happens is that in where we are from, it has to be that your grade carries you along.
Yeah.
However, in the foreign educational system, they do not only consider your grade, or for that matter, your CGPA for the admission. So there are several things they put into place. And I've had several email conversations with admissions officers who say that the entire application package is important. So if you're a human being and you have one finger cut off, it doesn't make you less of a human being.
Yeah.
You have a low CGPA, but you can get good letters of recommendation. You can get write a very good SOP, and sometimes you can even write an explanatory note. There are some people, it was out of sickness or something happened. They were financially challenged. That is what led to they not having a good grade in school.
Yeah.
So that does not mean that your CGPA defines you, or your grade it tells people like who you are. There are other things that you can do to make your application stand out, and those are the things, and those are the things I'm mentioning. That you have a low CGPA, no problem. You are not the first person
Yeah.
to have that. You can better your SOP, your statement of purpose. You can better your recommendation letters. Your resumes, your CV should stand out. So there are other application documents that come together to form the application package, and not only your CGPA. And the point is that there are a lot of people that have also had the opportunity to come here or to study abroad on a low CGPA. So how did those people do it, right? So there are people with E8, D7, even F9 who are studying abroad. So how did those people do it? So it is one thing to sit in your corner and perceive or think that it's not possible. It's another thing to motivate yourself and know that you wouldn't be the first person to study abroad in a low CGPA. Neither would you be the last person. So why are you not taking a step?
Okay. I think that is really, really. I also heard something that when it comes to the application thing, sometimes let me use the those who are going for masters. Sometimes some schools do consider only your third and fourth year, mostly because many people, when they go to school, they are not serious about classes and stuff. So most of the times, first year, second year, they don't really perform. But going to third year and fourth year, they do well, and then their grades, their GPAs might mostly appreciate. And I've heard that some schools do consider those last 2 years. I mean, how true is that one too?
Very true, very true. So in the first and second year, sometimes because you're getting used to the system and all that, your grades may not be good. But if your grades are not good in the third and final year, then there might be a challenge. But so some of the schools sometimes consider the third and the fourth year and what CGPA or what GPA you were able to get in those final years. So it's a brilliant point you bring out, that you can now check your GPA in the fourth year and third year and encourage yourself and know that it is highly possible, because you are not dumb as you see yourself. You are not too bad that you cannot study abroad. You get it? So I 100% agree with you, and it's true on that note.
Oh, okay. So with that said, when is the right time for someone to apply for school?
So I say that and again, it boils down to where we are from. So when you're done with high school back in Africa, you have one admission cycle. Legon is admitting, Tech is admitting, UCC is admitting within a certain period. And so when you miss it, you wait for next year. Now, the good thing is that studying abroad, there are a lot of admission cycles. So the major admission cycle is the fall semester, which actually begins in August and September in especially US and Canada. And so if you want to start applications, sometimes you can start as early as November in the previous year, December, January, even now, April, a match, you can still apply to for the fall semester for some schools. Now, there is also another admission cycle which begins in the January or February, which is called the spring semester.
Mm-hmm.
So they have several admission cycles. Now, there are some schools that would also have summer semester. They have early summer, late summer. So the point is that at any point in time that you wake up from your bed that you want to study abroad, there is a school to apply to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me add that to it that there are even some schools with rolling admission. Now, rolling admission means that, just like I said, anytime that you wake up from bed, you wash your face, and you are like, I want to study abroad, there is always a school to apply to. Granted, there are some programs and schools that would only admit once a year, which is the fall semester.
Mm-hmm.
Some would admit twice, fall semester, spring. Others will admit, in the summer semester as well. But they are rolling admissions. So whenever you are ready, there is always a school to apply to. So it depends on the program you want. Even within the same school, different departments may have different admission criteria and admission semesters. So you could have the same school like my alma mater, Ohio University, where maybe the economics department may be admitting spring and fall. But if you go to the business department, they may be admitting on rolling basis. As of when you want to apply, you can apply and come in. So there's always a time whenever you wake up, there's always a school to apply to.
Okay. So with that said, I mean, we know from our part of the world, especially Africa, where we are coming from, it's not just about applying for school. It's also about getting at least some funding or some benefit or some stipends or whatever. You speaking about this rolling admission, or anytime you wake up, there's a time to apply. In the sense of getting some funds or some scholarships, does it still apply with anytime you wake up?
So the good answer to this question would be yes. Now, to be able to find out, it's a bit challenging, especially like somebody who posed a question, Phila, which school will give me funding for this? Phila may not have that information. What you need to do is to reach out. Now, the reason why, and it boils down to our part. So the first time I started sending emails properly was when I started applying to schools abroad, because I was not used to emails back home. Now, if I look at some of the emails I sent before coming, I am not very proud of it. I could have done better by then, because you write in capital letters. You think that when you write in capital, that's the best way. No. So it boils down to our end that reach out. So I could be in one department that as a student, but for you to apply to that same department, don't think that because Fred has scholarship in that school, automatically I attended the same school with Fred. I got maybe a better grade with Fred. So when so you reach out. So either spring semester or fall semester, if you want scholarship, the best person to talk to is the director of the program or the admissions counselor. So those are the people to reach out to know that there is scholarship for spring, there's scholarship for fall, there's scholarship for summer semester. And this differs according to the department. However, the major academic semesters that usually have good scholarships is the fall semester and sometimes the spring semester. But that is still not a way to determine. Reach out, talk to somebody, ask them, share your credentials. This is my resume, this is my CV. I want to apply for fall, I want to apply for spring, I want to apply for summer. Are there scholarships available for me? Once you get a yes or no answer, that will determine whether you should go ahead. And that department, and not necessarily the school, because different departments have different funding criteria and all that. So it could be that in the same school, the Department of Geography has scholarship for their student, but the Department of maybe Mathematics may not. This is just an example.
Yeah.
So you need to reach out and ask the semester you want to apply to, and then whether there's funding for that, and also share your credentials so that they give you that information before you apply. So it's not a good idea to just generically say that if you're applying for summer, you'll not get funding. It depends on the department. It depends on.
Okay. So speaking about the credentials, I'm curious to know more about what the documents should be when someone is applying for school in the States.
So generically, starting with a bachelor's, most universities, will take your high school transcript, high school certificate, and that's one thing. Back home, you don't get an automatic transcript when you attend UCC or Tech or any other higher education. Automatically, as you progress in your on your academic calendar, first year, second year, your transcripts are piled up, so you get it
Yeah.
at the end of the your program. But when it comes to high school, you don't. So you have to go to your high school to be able to get the transcript. Then you need your resource. It could be the one printed on the WIAC website, or maybe the one that certificate you get from your school. You need to get English proficiency letter, and especially if you are listening to us from an English-speaking country, Nigeria, Gambia, Ghana, Kenya, you don't necessarily need to write the IELTS or TOEFL or Duolingo and all that. Of course, some universities may require that as an international applicant, but most universities, because you are from an English-speaking country, you can speak and write English proficiently. And personally, in Bole Bamboy, I did not have the resources to go and write IELTS. I did not have the resources to for Duolingo. I may have wanted to, but the resources are not there. You understand? And
Yeah.
so I couldn't write it. So what I did was to take the English proficiency letter from my university, indicating that I did all my courses in English. Ghana is an English-speaking country, so I can obviously speak and write English proficiently. And then the university accepted that and admitted me into the program. So still on the high school, you may need letters of recommendation. And this could be 1, this could be 2, 3, depending on the college or university you want to apply to. Then the next thing will be, of course, if you want to travel, you should have a passport. So you get a passport, and also you may need a CV or not, depending on the school. So we spoke about the transcript, the certificate, letters of recommendation, your passport, and then English proficiency. Primarily, most universities can admit you with these documents. Now, depending on whichever college or university you're applying to, you may be asked to write an essay, you may be asked to submit some other document. That would depend on the school you want to apply to. Now, when it comes to master's or maybe a graduate program, PhD and all that, mostly you need about 2 to 3 letters of recommendation. Obviously, you should have your certificate, your transcript, passport, and then you need an English proficiency letter, a resume or CV, and a statement of intent or a statement of purpose. So generically, most universities will accept this. But depending on the program you want to apply to, they may require some other documents that you need to submit as well.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So talking about the credentials, and especially when it comes to the transcripts, many people do get confused with what transcript is it. And for, like you mentioned, you rightly mentioned, for the high school or the SHS leavers, many people didn't even know that they take transcripts. Yeah. So talking about transcripts, we know there are other types of transcripts. Some can be official, other can be evaluated, whatever. Many people would want to know more about those ones too.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this. So let's make it clear. So in terms of official and unofficial, when you go and pick up your transcript from your school and it is sealed and nobody has opened it, it's official. Once you open it, it's unofficial. So the ones that you have seen or had access to it, it's classified as unofficial. So if you're able to get the sealed one from your school and send it directly to the university you're applying to, is considered official. And then if you open it, unofficial. Now, when it comes to evaluation, we know that there are several ways, transcript certificate sometimes can be, generated with a computer, right? So some individuals, did not necessarily attend the school they claim they attended, and somehow they were able to get those transcripts. So sometimes some universities would want to confirm that is a fella who actually attended this university and got this grade, starting the school for 4 years and all that. So in that case, they want to authenticate the qualifications, and that's why the evaluation comes in. Now, the evaluation actually is sometimes done by a third party. Some universities, like University of Illinois Springfield, have an internal evaluation. And so the popular one that people know of is the NASIS, which WES is a popular member of it.
Yeah.
And so, you get your documents to them, and then they authenticate or they evaluate those credentials before you can use it to apply to a school. The whole idea is to indicate that indeed this person said he attended this school and he's the one that got these results and all that.
Okay. I think I want to pull up someone's question here. Then we tackle this before we go forward. Is that this question goes to Fred? Okay, so obviously Fred will respond to your questions for you. Okay, so I hold a bachelor degree. My CGPA is 3.4. I want to do masters abroad. My question is, without IELTS, do I qualify? Okay, so to get scholarship, Mr. Fred.
Yeah, so Nasia Fee, obviously from Ghana. So IELTS is an English proficiency exam. And so if you did your bachelor's degree in Ghana and if you are from Ghana, you do not necessarily need the IELTS. It depends on the school you want to apply to. Well, I applied to Ohio University. I studied in University of Kentucky. I didn't need the IELTS because I had an English proficiency letter. So
Yeah.
yes, you do qualify. And if it is 3.4 over 4.0, kudos. Nasi, this is a great CGPA, which it should make it life easier for you.
Okay, so let's continue with that. So with that said, I want to know more about when applying for a school. What are the specific things one should look out for? Or the moment you see this school, oh, my friend is in this school, I also apply to this school. What really should one look out for when applying to a specific school?
Yeah, so this can be very relative. Everybody has a different motive of going about this study abroad thing, and so especially if you're like myself, who cannot pay for your education, you need to look out for whether the school would offer you a scholarship or not. And
Mhm.
the reason why most of us talk more about the US and sometimes Canada is the ease with which you can get scholarships, right? So if you cannot afford to pay for your education and you need some sort of funding, then one of the things you should look out for is the scholarship that could allow you to come and study for free, as most people are doing. So you have to find out if the university you want to apply to, the department you want to study, would have scholarships for you, and also whether some of the things that some of the documents you have will be accepted.
Mhm.
So some universities may require some documents that you may not be able to get. So if you're like myself, who is back home, was not able to apply to some schools because they strictly require GRE, then
Mhm.
you have to opt for other schools. Some schools that strictly require evaluation and you can't afford it, then you don't have to opt for those schools. Some schools that will strictly require the IELTS and TOEFL, then you don't have to. So you have to look at what, you have to tailor this whole study abroad thing
Yeah.
according to one, your resources, two, time, and three, the documents you have, right? So
Yeah.
whatever you want to do is possible. In fact, if you want to travel to whatever country today, it's possible.
Mhm.
Depends on what resources do you have, what
Mhm.
documents do you have, and the time at your disposal to get these things done, right? So I applied to a school that would not require the GRE because I did not have the resources and two, the time to sit for the GRE. So I tailored my study abroad according to the documents I can present, right?
Mhm.
So, basically look at these three things that I've mentioned before you approach you apply to a school. Once you satisfy the requirements, you're good to go.
Okay, let me pull up this question. Afrani Gabriel says, please, I hold a 3-year diploma in education in addition to a 1-year bachelor top up in education. I want to apply for master's degree. How do I go about that?
Yeah, Afrani, I'm sure that you have subscribed to the channel. Fela, we have to respond to people who have subscribed. Afrani, please subscribe, like, and share. I would really appreciate that. Thank you. So, to your question, you have a 3-year diploma in education. Perfect. And a 1-year bachelor's degree top up. You want to apply for master's. How do you go about it? That's a great question, Afrani. And I'm sure most people do have the same question.
Yeah.
So, what happens is that when you combine your two transcripts, now it's the equivalent of a 4-year bachelor's degree. However, your qualification is a bit alien to the foreign educational system. As a Ghanaian, if you tell me you have a diploma, which is a 3-year diploma and a top up, automatically I know it's a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: at the moment, you do have two different transcripts and two different CGPAs, two different certificates. And if you combine them, it means that you would have two separate CGPAs, which it's a bit alien to the foreign educational system. So if they do not understand your qualification, giving you admission, especially when they compare it to somebody who has a
Mhm.
4-year straight bachelor's degree, might be challenging. So that
Yeah.
is why the evaluation comes in handy. And so with your case, I would suggest that you can apply to some schools that are waiving application fee. Of course, if they give you admission, you don't lose anything. If they don't give you admission, you don't lose anything.
Yeah.
But to keep yourself in a better position to apply, please evaluate both your top up and then diploma. This will give you a single transcript, a single CGPA, which will be understandable to the foreign educational system so that they can give you admission. So what happens is that when they don't understand that combining your diploma and a top of what we call diploma, sometimes they call it associate degree.
Yeah.
So over here, if you're in level 100, they call it freshman. So if you meet a kid here and then you ask which level are you, they don't understand.
Yeah.
So if you're in level 200, and that was the first time I heard it when I got to the US that
The sophomores and the rest. I
if
mean,
you're in level
this,
200, they call you sophomore.
yeah.
But if you ask somebody in Ghana what is sophomore, they don't also get it. They know it's second year level 200. So it's the same way. You have a good qualification, but they may not understand what your
Yeah.
qualification is in order to access you for admission. So apply to universities with no application fee, combining the two transcript. But if you really want to pay application fee to apply to a school, I would advise you get the evaluation done first.
Okay. With the evaluation, let me pull this one here because this in line with that one too. Unknown facts. Wow. Unknown facts. Okay, so unknown facts says, if I evaluate my diploma transcript, is it possible for me to pursue master's degree, or is there anything I need to do? So
Yes.
after evaluating your diploma, can the person go ahead and do masters?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to be sure if the an unknown fact, please help us. Is your diploma a 2-year diploma or a 3-year diploma? If it's a 2-year diploma, then evaluating may not necessarily qualify you for a master's. But it's a 3-year diploma, yes. If it's a 2-year diploma, like the community nursing and all that, then you need to apply as a transfer student for a bachelor's degree. But 2 years going straight to a master's, they may not admit you.
Okay. I think we spoke about this, but in a jiffy, I want us to brush over this and then move ahead. Is that what about someone holding an SHS certificate? How can such a person gain admission to university in the state? I mean, a quick one. I think you spoke about this already, but then let's brush over it again.
Yeah. So Willie Face, please subscribe. The documents you need will be your transcript, your high school certificate, English proficiency letter, get a passport, and 2 letters of recommendation. And yes, you can apply. There are a lot of people studying here with their high school certificate, pursuing a bachelor's degree. So, bro, you can also do it.
Okay. Okay. I think that is also well noted. So most of the times I get people who come on my shows and it's like, I don't know, maybe you may perfectly understand it, but then they don't want to write any test score. They want a school that has no application fee. These same people want fully funded scholarship, and sometimes their grades are not so well. And for all you know, these people have not even got people to recommend them or give them good recommendations or write a solid or a touching SOP to even complement that. I mean, what's your take on like the person doesn't want to do this, what doesn't want to do that, but he or she wants all the benefits in applying for a school in the state? I mean, what's your take on that?
So there's always a price to pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's always a price to pay. So you need to do something. You need to take an action. There's nothing like free lunch, right?
Yeah.
People should understand that there are some sacrifices to be made. There are some prices to be paid if you want to really do this. We don't say that you should get all the documents in the world, but what you want would come with a requirement. If you want a full scholarship, it comes with something that you have to do. So you should be ready and prepared to put in those documents so that you qualify for it. So people getting admission and scholarship, were able to produce certain document that qualified them for. So if the scholarship, the school you want to apply to requires certain document, you can't say that I don't want to produce it, but again, I want to get the scholarship. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. So let me pull this question here and then okay, here it is. I think we responded to this particular person. Please, does the program you study affect your career in US? Because some of us only want to school and okay, I don't know how Mr. Fred would want to respond to this, but then I don't know if you can touch on this, or I should move forward to the next question. It doesn't really
I mean, it depends on the level. At a certain stage of academics, you are, driving towards a certain career. But if it's a bachelor's degree, definitely after that, you can switch to whatever field you want to.
Okay. Uh, wow. Some people, I think many people have challenges with this transcript kind of thing, especially from the SHS level. I don't know. Please, how can I convince my SHS school counselor to send my transcript to schools?
Okay, so first of all, most of these things are new. I spoke about how email is not our thing back home,
Mm-hmm.
right? So is it possible that you can draft an email and tell your counselor that just copy, or this is how you're supposed to go about the email writing to the school, and this is how you're supposed to do it? Is it possible you could even go to the school? Some of our people, internet access, computer stuff like that. Some people would have to even pay to go to a cafe to do that for you. So
Yeah.
if the teacher, all that he has is his, phone, and sometimes a YAM phone, and then he doesn't know or understand what you're talking about. It makes it challenging. So,
Okay.
Fit Mind Revolution. Is it possible you could get a template of an email? Is it possible that you could show your counselor how to properly name the document? Is it possible that you can go to the school and even help him send it? Sometimes they don't, it's not that they don't want to do it, but they may not know how to go about it, because they probably, if you want to attend a university in Ghana, you don't need those things from your high school, right? They can use your WASI directly, and then they can admit you. So
Mm-hmm.
if the teacher, the head teacher, like Bole Bamboy, if you go to my head teacher in Bole Bamboy, and then you tell my head teacher to, no, you are not getting it done, because internet access, computer access, all those things are limiting. So you can't sit somewhere, just be calling them that, please get this, please put in extra effort to make them also help you.
Okay. Okay. So, with that said, someone wants to sit down all by himself and apply for school. I want you to take it step by step. How should the person do this?
So it's a good step. First step is to try, subscribe, and then like this session. Fela has been putting in a lot of work to be able to help you, because he has done it, and he's telling you that this is how I did it. You can do it. So first of all, you need, it's a good thing that you started following conversations like this. That's the best way to go. The second thing is that start searching for your document. So please, if you do not have a passport, it's not too late. Just, as you're listening to us, take a step to getting a passport. If you've not gone for your certificate and transcript, high school, whatever, please make a step, to get these documents. So primarily, you need to gather these documents we are referring to. And we've mentioned that this live section will be on Phyllis YouTube channel. So at any point in time, you can go back and be watching it. Put
Mm-hmm.
together the required document first before anything. The second thing is that, what program do you want to study? And it will be good that you don't put your eggs in one basket. No matter what you studied, there are always other related programs you can look at. Sometimes the program you studied may not necessarily be what you should continue with. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you had a bachelor's degree in mathematics does not necessarily mean that you can only apply for masters in mathematics. There are
Yeah.
other related programs that you can study. So
Mm-hmm.
normally I tell people that get at least 5 different programs. Have a first choice, a second choice, and at least 3 backup plans, right? And then you now can easily Google maybe masters in computer science universities in US or Canada. You get a list of them. What you do is that you visit the university's website, identify the head of department email address, and sometimes it's not in Ghana like you go to a university's website, even finding
Your program is even difficult.
so you go through the program, identify what you want to pursue, and then email them. Simple email. Express yourself or introduce yourself academically. Express interest in the program. Share your transcript. Don't write a whole tall essay. Nobody would read that. Make it
Mhm.
as simple as that, and make inquiries. Sometimes, what happens is that there's actually an office set up for international students. So if you come to the US, WhatsApp is from the US, but it's not a thing here. But
Yeah.
most of these international offices have WhatsApp lines that are set up so that they can communicate with international students. So if you never ask, you never know. So they can even assign a whole admission counselor to you alone, who will be assisting you. And whenever you have an issue, you can simply text them on WhatsApp, or you can email them and they will respond to you. So the one of the things that people, and it's not our fault, when I was done with senior high school, when applying to UCC, I just went to the post office, bought the forms, and applied.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to. I didn't know that you have to contact. Nobody will even respond to you.
Mm-hmm.
But here, that's the first step. Talk to someone. Ask questions. They have webinars. Attend them and all that. Once you get a positive feedback on admission and funding, and let me tell you the reason why I spent money to apply to high university. So shout outs to Isaac. Isaac, is in Ohio University. He used to be my TA back in UCC at the economics department. So he left to Ohio University, and probably that was the main reason I got to Ohio University. So I messaged him, and he was like, I wanted to apply for economics, but he said, oh, you have to reach out to the professor and stuff like that. So I reached out, shared my transcript, and the professor said that yes, go ahead and apply. We can give you admission. We can give you scholarship. So if a white man is saying that I should go ahead and apply, they'll give me admission, give me scholarship. That's why the 559 I took from Bole Bamboy, I decided to, use it into that.
Channel it in that.
I only applied to one school in the US. The reason is because I started a lot of them, but you get to extend and then they said application fee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't afford it. So
Yeah.
when I got that response from the director, I said, okay, this one, let me, spend the money. And even with that, you see, back home, if you have a Visa card or MasterCard, you pay monthly.
Mm-hmm.
You receive 559. You want to go and take MasterCard and Visa card so that they will be charging you monthly. What for? I didn't have that. So I said, it's a whole story. I sent the mobile money to somebody, and then the person had to pay for me and all that. So the point is that reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. Once they give you, sometimes people get admission and they say that they don't have funding. If you had asked in advance before applying,
Mm-hmm.
you have known that the department do not offer funding. It's not
Yeah.
news. It's because you didn't ask. That's why you didn't know that the department do not have funding. So after admission, you will not get it. So ask first. And so this whole process is not like a try and error kind of thing. I bought Legon forms, tech forms, and UCC form because it's a try and error. I am going to pray that I will get admission into one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But here, if you do the process correctly, it's not a try and error. Those of us studying here are not more brilliant than you. In fact, there are people that I attended the same school with. They were, you can accept that. Sometimes you don't want to underrate yourself, but there are some people who are better than you. You accept that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are people who are better than some of us. So it doesn't mean that we studying here are from a better home. I wouldn't have done my national service in Bole Bamboy.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is in some village in Bronga Hafo. I'm not, I didn't have the money. I was talking to my uncle the other time. He was like, if, they were talking about people who had to study abroad or who had to travel abroad, it shouldn't have been me,
Mm-hmm.
So communicate with someone in the school before you apply. So please get your document. Subscribe to channels like Filler GH. We are giving you the information. We have gone through the same path. And sometimes I find it challenging that if people have traveled on the same path you have traveled, you shouldn't suffer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to Isaac. Shout outs to him. He's currently in Ohio University. And always I say thank you to him. And he said that this is what I have to do. He is the one who told me that I had to send an email. And he told me how I should go about it. Right. So sometimes when you get such guidance, it makes it a bit easier for you to go to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Okay. So so going ahead, maybe in the next 10 minutes, I'll be sending the link to the comment section so that if you want to come up and ask your question, you can go ahead and do that. But in the meantime, you can bring your questions down there in the comment section, and then I'll bring them up here and we'll respond to that. Okay, I think GM has been sending these comments like 10 times. So let's kindly respond to JM. James says, please, I want to know the difference between Ivy League school, need blind school, and then need aware universities.
That's one of the brilliant questions I've ever received. I'm very glad you asked. So JM, it means that you're doing your research. So Ivy League are top universities. They have sometimes high cost of attendance and it's very expensive to attend, and also the acceptance rate is sometimes low. It doesn't limit you. So I've had opportunity to assist a lot of people to Yale and then Harvard and all that. So it's possible you can apply to those schools, especially if you have what it takes. It means if you have the resource or the required CGPA, the documents they need to apply. And sometimes too, you need to find out. You can get a full scholarship to Ivy League. I have somebody who is studying at Yale African Studies, all the way from Africa. He's studying African Studies on a full scholarship at Yale. It's possible. So you need to find out all those things. Need blind, as universities that do not pay attention to your financial background. So most of these universities or colleges, they give very good scholarships. And for those of you who are hearing it for the first time, most of there is a university, a college in Kentucky. It was closer to me in Lexington. It's called Berea College. That's a typical example. Now,
Yeah.
you never hear about colleges that do not charge tuition. So Berea College, for example, is a need blind university. They don't charge for tuition. So everybody gets 100% tuition waiver when you apply or you qualify, and then you apply to such university. So, these are some of the universities that are classified as need blind, and they give a lot of scholarships. So I'm glad you asked. So need aware is a little bit similar to the need blind. So sometimes you apply, they give you a merit-based scholarship. You need to submit other financial documents in order to be qualified for the documents you need for the visa process and all that.
Okay. Yakubu also wants to know. Yakubu says that I think his first 3 semesters were not that good, but then the subsequent ones. Okay, let me read it. I'm happy to be here. My question is that my last 2 semesters sessions weren't as good as the first 3 sessions, but regardless, I graduated with a GPA of 3.79 out of 5.0. Do I have a better chance of doing my MSc?
Yakubu, salam alaikum. You do have a better chance. Just get your documents together and start something. So
Okay.
3.7, super great.
Okay. Nadia also says, please, is it possible for you to request for more scholarship after your I-20 has been issued?
Brilliant question, Nadi. So I'll use one of my mentees as an example. She's a wonderful lady, Arabi. She used to be in UCC. So she got admission into a university in Ohio, and then she requested for more scholarships. And guess what? They gave her more scholarships. It's just a matter of communicating, talking to somebody. So now, not every admission would automatically come with a scholarship you deserve, you want. So you can get an I-20, and that's what I normally advise people to do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because of the struggle in getting a favorable visa appointment, you can get admission now. Please don't wait. If you do have the financial document, get your I-20. Sometimes the scholarship decisions are made in June, April, thereabout. And so you don't have to necessarily wait for that. You can get your I-20. And people think that if I get my I-20, wouldn't they think that I have money? No, once you qualify for it, they will give it to you. So you can get your I-20, start your visa process, and later on, when the scholarship comes, what they are going to do is that they would update the I-20 reflecting the new funding, but the service ID number, the name of the school, everything will remain the same. Now, even if the service ID number changes, you can still talk to the embassy, and then they will switch that in the system for you.
Okay. I think this question is quite interesting. My GPA was evaluated by a university in the state, and it resulted in having a lower GPA than what I had earlier from the university in Ghana. So do I have to do a worse evaluation?
So if it was evaluated by the university, but then it means that they had their own criteria. The most important thing is that if it was an internal evaluation, are you going to be given admission? If you get admission, then there's no big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's going to result in a lower CGPA, that would lead to they denying you admission, then you going for worse will be advisable.
Okay. Let me put this one here. Please, okay, as a BSc accountant graduate, first class, with 4 years experience on my job, I've not got a GMAT or GRE. Can I get admission and scholarship? Okay. He has 4 years experience. He has a first class. I mean, your GPA would have been better than the class, but then he has 4 years. He has not written GMAT or GRE. Does he still have a chance of getting admission and scholarship?
Elvis, you have a perfect profile. Elvis, please subscribe to the channel. You have a perfect profile. You on your CV, 4 years of working experience, perfect. a first class, perfect. It's only few people who would have the kind of qualification you have, having a first class, and also having the work experience, which will make your CV very rich. So yes, you qualify for admission and scholarship. This is the suggestion that
Okay.
most people, when they have such a business background, would want to go into the business field. Now, to be honest with you, most universities without GRE or GMAT getting full scholarship for a business related program might be challenging. And
Mm-hmm.
the good thing is that most universities would waive application fee when it comes to their business programs. So recently, my university, it had $75 of application fee. Their finance, accounting, most of the business programs, they waived it. There are lots of universities that would do that. So what you do is that do not limit yourself to only, that's one suggestion. Do not limit yourself to only business related programs. So don't only go and apply to MSc accounting alone.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is that in your business field, without GRE, you can opt for what we call a dual masters. And if you look at a university like University of Utah, they have a dual masters program. So you can have accounting and then maybe business analytics, and then that will give you a full scholarship without the GRE or GMAT. So that's a good technique to use. Apply to a dual masters if you want a business related field. Other than that, if you reach out to them and they say they don't have funding without a GRE or GMAT, then opt for a related program. So with BSc accounting, you qualify to apply to public administration, public policy. There are a lot of other related programs that you can apply to that will give you full scholarship other than only the business related field. So Elvis, please subscribe. Perfect profile, first class. Congrats. 4 years of experience, rich CV. You're good to go.
Okay, so that's for Elvis. Now, Samuel Duku says, as an undergraduate in Ghana, can I apply as a freshman or as a fresher in the States? He has a degree already in Ghana. Can he still apply for a first degree here in the state again?
Yeah, so Samuel, if you had made it clear that maybe you're in level 300 or 200 back in your current school, you can qualify to apply as a freshman if you want to use your high school. You can also use, especially if you're in somewhere level 300, and you can get some years of transcript, you can apply as a transfer student. Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay, let me put this one up here. So let me bring this across that in a few minutes I'll be sharing the link here. So if you want to come up and ask your question too, you are good to come up and then ask your question. Philip, please ask Mr. Fred. Of course I will. That the school he applied to admit to Empower Financing, and what is the name of the school? Okay, he wants to know if your school you attended, which you mentioned Ohio, if they accept Empower Financing.
Yeah, so I have attended Ohio University. I also graduated from University of Kentucky. It depends on the program. Remember that Empower do not finance a program when it's more than 2 years. So you need to find out if your program it qualifies for the Empower finance. Yeah.
Okay, this is quite different, but then I think it's really interesting. If you're unemployed, as at the time you are filling your DS-160 form, and you provide a false instruction, will you provide evidence to that effect, and will they find out indeed if you are working or not? When you are filling the DS-160, I mean, many people, you should know that that area is also one key point of knowing or having to draw in some home ties. So he wants to, she wants to, sorry. And when it comes to this, sorry, but I don't know whether it's he or she. So this person wants to find out if filling the DS-160 form, as at the time he was filling, he was not employed. But then let's say he wrote as employed, but probably now he's working. But then that time he wasn't. Is there a way they can find out that as at that time he was not employed?
So the one thing is that do not lie on the DS-160. It's not advisable. And the second thing is that I would also not advise anybody to put unemployed on the DS-160. One thing is that initially the outcome of the interview used to be two. Either you get approved or denied. But now it's three: approval, a denial, or administrative processing. Now, if you are being put on administrative processing, there are a lot of information they can find out. So you don't want to undermine what they can and cannot find out. Just do the right thing, you'll be fine.
Okay. Okay. Let me pull comfort here. I had a short course diploma in early childhood education in Ghana, which lasted for 8 months. And in my WASI, I had E8 in maths and science. Please, can I use both to apply for school in the States?
Yes, you can use your high school to apply for a freshman. For 8 months, I don't know if that qualifies to be like 1 year of a diploma, but normally diploma is supposed to be 2 or 3 years. So the E8 doesn't matter. What you have to do is that, and this is very important. Phil, I'm glad this question came up. That when you have a weakness in certain courses, when applying for a university, go choose the program that you had a strength in. So you had E8 in maths. Please don't apply to a bachelor's degree in mathematics. You had E8 in science. Don't apply to a science related program. Opt for a program depending on your electives and comfort. If you're able to tell us your electives, we may be able to help you with some suggestion.
Okay.
E8, E7 is highly possible, but know your strength, and so that you don't go and apply to a program that would rely on the admission will rely on those courses that you have low grades in.
Okay. I think you spoke about the evaluation, but is it Jacuzzi? Jacuzzi said I applied to a school in US and with my evaluated transcript, that has okay. Let me read it directly. I applied to a US school with an evaluated transcript that improved my low GPA, but they also want me. They also want my official transcript. Why?
A typical example, I love this question. A typical example is Indiana University, Bloomington. So there are some universities, and that's why this is very positive. There are some universities that do not require the evaluation. Even if you send it to them, they will not take it. They will ask you to send the original one, right? So a typical example is what I gave you. So those universities, it means that they do not require the transcript evaluation. And another mistake you might have made is that the evaluated transcript can either be uploaded or sent directly from the evaluation body. So when you evaluate your transcript, normally the copy that you are able to download, it has an unofficial watermark in them. So if you uploaded the unofficial copy, meanwhile you should have ordered for the official copy to upload, then please upload the official copy. Don't upload the one with the unofficial watermark in them. The second thing is that the WES website can directly, it requires a fee though, can directly send your transcript to whatever school you want to apply to. So is it possible that you can directly ask WES to send it to them? And so that, because what you're trying to play here is that you had an improved CGPA with a WES evaluation. So
Mhm.
you are a little bit scared when you upload the one which is unevaluated. So
Yeah.
you can use the tactics I'm talking about. One, ask WES to directly send it to the school. If the school appears in the WES system, they will do that, but it requires a fee. Two, do not upload the one with the unofficial watermark. Upload the official one.
Okay. So that is for Jacuzzi. Your name is heavy and nice. Isaac says I was required to upload my study permit when I tried applying last year. Please, can you tell me what this study permit is about?
Yeah, so this is maybe a Canadian school. Isaac, please subscribe, but let your question be clear. Are you talking about Canada? The Canada, we call it a study permit. US, we call it the student visa. But
Mhm.
so let us know whether you're talking about a Canadian school and if you're talking about a university or a college in Canada. But what happens is that mostly when completing an application, it depends on the prompt that you select. So, for example, some US universities will ask you, do you already have a US visa or do you intend to apply for one? You have to select that you intend to apply for one. What category? Is it M, J, or F visa? Then you select it. So it depends on what you selected during the application. That would warrant other, subsequent questions that the system would provide you.
Okay. So that is for Isaac. Uh, Zigbeng. Okay, sorry if I didn't get the name right. I have an admission offer to study MSc Applied Digital Forensic and Cyber. Wow, that's a very big good course in a private university for this fall. Is it possible to get scholarship, or I should just apply to a government school?
Yeah, congrats. I'm happy for you. Please reach out to the director of the program. Ask if you would automatically be considered for scholarship or you need to submit a separate application to be considered. So if there is, they will let you know. So find out from the school first And then, of course, if you have access to government scholarships too, that would be great.
Okay, so I'm sending the link to the comment section. If you want to come up, maybe we can sacrifice the next 15 minutes to wrap it up with your questions. But then I saw this question here I wanted to pull up. Someone is asking how to contact Fred. So before we close, Fred will give out all those details. But then I saw someone's question here. Okay, let me put this one up. Abarika says, please, I got a message from the university asking me to apply for campus tour. Any enlightenment about that? Campus tour. Okay.
Yes. So sometimes, there can be a virtual tour or maybe an in-person tour. So it depends. And sometimes, if you're an international student, an in-person tour may not apply to you.
Okay. So I've sent the link to the live at the comment section. If you want to come up and ask a question, you are good to go. Just put in your request and then I'll bring you on to ask your question. Please make sure you are at a quiet place so that you don't disrupt the live session.
And
Okay.
please put on your video so that, because we are live on YouTube. So
Yeah, sure. And please make sure your background is it's very serene before you come in. Okay. Okay, a lot of them coming in so far. Okay, this person is ready. Let me bring out. Okay. Mr. Solomon. Solomon, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Okay, can we have your question?
Okay, so I graduated from the University of Legon with a second class upper, and I did public administration and information studies. And I'm just showed by the Fred effect because when I got to know that he did his master's at Ohio University, so from there I just intended to just follow him just to know. But I would love it if he would just help me get into the Ohio University as well because he has
Okay.
been there with the master's program in public administration.
Okay.
So I wish to continue.
Okay. Okay. So the Fed will respond to that, but then going ahead, he will mention how you can contact him so that if you need consultation and any other thing, he can help you with that.
I have on Instagram. I have
Okay.
contacted him,
so
but
Dido,
not
okay.
with this particular uh, uh, what I'm talking about. Not this
Okay.
particular.
Okay, so Dido, it's good that you have this similar background. I didn't. My public administration was rather in University of Kentucky, Ohio University. I did a different program, but my roommate was in the public administration department, and so yes, Ohio University has a public administration program. They mostly start in the summer. It's a 1 year program now. It used to be 2 years. It's a 1 year program. So what you need to do now is to put together your document, right? And then reach out to the director of the program at the Ohio University. Share a copy of your transcript and resume and ask if you qualify to be admitted and if you also qualify for admission. However, with public administration, if you have a pen and a paper, I can give you a list of schools because that's my field. I can give you a list of schools that you don't only have to focus on Ohio University, but there are other universities that you can check out. Also, with a public administration background, you can look at a lot of other fields. So let's start with that. You can look at public affairs, public policy, international relations, international policy. There are lots of them. So not only the public administration. So of course, you mentioned Ohio University, my current university, University of Kentucky. You can also check out Northern Illinois University. They also have a public administration program. You can check out Urban University, AUBURN, is in Alabama, Urban University. And then you can check out Indiana University Bloomington. Indiana University Bloomington, they also have public affairs, public administration. They even have a dual public administration and public affairs program.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So
Oh,
I mean, I've mentioned them. You can go back and watch this video. It's unfortunately you may not be able to catch up and write all of them, but go back and watch whatever I mentioned. You may be able to get it.
Okay, just one thing. Upon my own research on the schools, I realized that some of them um do it online. So when it happens like that, I mean,
So that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. So online programs you cannot get visa for them. So when the program is online, it means that you don't need to apply as an international student, except you want to do it online. So those online programs, please don't apply for them.
Okay.
okay, all right.
So
Thank you.
Solomon, thank you so much for joining in. Let me take you off for now. Please, I see your images at the background, so make sure your background is serene. Then I will bring you on. If you look distorted at the background, I will not bring you on. So make sure if you're coming on, okay. So let me bring Godfred on. Godfred is ready. Okay, Mr. Godfred, please, when you come on, let's make it very brief because there are a lot of people requesting. So, Godfred, can we have you?
Yeah, Fela,
Godfrey,
Mr. Fred.
before you go on, have you subscribed to the YouTube channel?
Yeah, I just did.
Thank you.
Yeah. I had admission to University of New Haven, and then to submit a bank statement of 40,000 USD cost of attendance. Though in my accepted student portal, my scholarship decision hasn't been updated yet, and then currently I don't know what to do. The best advice for me, in case the scholarship doesn't come, what's the best advice?
First of all, congrats. And I don't like the fact that you said in case, but you have to be positive about the thing. The fact that you've been
Right.
able to be considered for admission, that is positive enough. So congrats on the admission. That's the
Thank you.
first step. So what you have to do now is to reach out to the director of the program or the head of the department. And I'm sure probably you did that before the application. But now that you've gotten admission, email him or her and then express gratitude for being considered for the admission. Then ask two major questions. Would you be automatically considered for scholarship, or would you have to submit a separate application? Now, if a separate application is required, they will send you the link or the document to complete, send it to them. And if they would automatically consider you for scholarship too, they will tell you the specific month. Sometimes, the admission comes in now, and later maybe April there, but that's when they will make the funding decisions. So when you ask these two questions from the department, then now you will know whether indeed are you going to get a scholarship, or is there even an interview that you have to attend with them to qualify for the scholarship. They will let you know all that, and then you work on that.
Okay, for in the portal, I'm told that you are automatically considered for scholarship.
It still
I even
it still does not undermine reaching out.
okay, I reach out to you. I don't know if it's a her or him. But I wanted updates. I reached out to him regarding the update of the application. That was on the Thursday. But I haven't gotten a reply.
All right. So based on what you're saying, you said that you're not sure whether it's the director or not. You have to be very clear on that so that you know you're communicating with the right person.
Okay. So Godfred, thank you so much for joining in. We really appreciate your time here. Okay. Before we bring on another person, I'll be bringing Jennifer Okante next. So Jennifer, please be ready. But then let me pull this one up quickly. Then we come back to the videos. So please, can I apply for a university? I had 4 A's and 3 B's in my WASI, but then my integrated science was cancelled.
Oh, so that's not a problem. So recently, I even posted on Twitter. There was somebody who had, one integrated science withheld and all that. So what it means is that you don't apply for a science-related program. Yes, you can be admitted. Get your script and all that, and you're good to go.
Okay. So let me bring Jennifer on. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, please. You just answered my question. Thank you.
Oh, okay. You're the same person. Okay. All right. Congratulations then. Okay, so Jennifer's question has been answered. Let me bring on another Jennifer, from Jennifer to Jennifer. Okay. Jennifer.
Okay, thank you so much for the good work you are doing. Please, my question is, I was looking out for schools with full funding, but I realize for accounting students it's quite challenging. So I want to ask what are some of the suggestions you can give me to look out for? I
Yeah,
have
so
a
this
GPA of 3.52.
So this is similar to the answer I was giving to our brother who had the first class with accounting. So what happens is that Jennifer, most of the business related fields, if you want to pursue a master's or higher education in, because it really fetches and is expensive, they are not mostly funded. So what you can do is that if you want to sit for the GRE or GMAT, it will help you. That's one. Two, you can opt for, if you don't want to sit for the GRE or GMAT, you can opt for a dual master's degree. So you can have a master's in accounting plus maybe business analytics. And a typical example is University of Utah. If you check their program, they have a dual master's. If you apply for that, it gives you a good scholarship. The third option is that opt for other related programs. So with a bachelor's in accounting, you don't necessarily have to restrict yourself to only masters in accounting. There are other related programs that will give you scholarship that you can also apply to.
Okay, thank you so much. But please, how do I join your mentorship if I want to?
If you go to my any of my social media platforms, whether TikTok, there's a link, social link. You can take it from there.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much,
thank
Jennifer. Okay,
thank you.
Opon has been here for some time, but Opon, your video is not on. We are on YouTube, so if you want to come on, kindly put your camera on so that I can bring you on. But before Opon will be ready, let me bring on Fafali here. Please, if you don't put your video on, I'm not bringing you on because you're on YouTube and you need to have the video on. Okay, so let's bring Fafali on. Fafali, how is it going?
Hello,
Yeah, Fafali, can we have
evening,
you?
afternoon, depending on where you are. Please, can you hear me?
Your network is quite shaky, but then if you can come back again, I really appreciate that for now.
There's some.
Okay,
Uh,
sorry about that, Fafali. Your network is very bad. If you can come back again, I really appreciate that. Upon you've been here for some time, let me bring Damba. Is it Demba? Demba. Okay. Uh, Demba. Okay, Demba isn't ready. Let's bring Godfred on.
Hello.
Yeah, Godfred.
Please, I wanted to ask,
Oh, sorry, Godfred was taken out. Okay, let me bring Godfred back.
hello.
Yeah, Godfred.
I completed SHS last year and I wanted to ask, how do I apply?
Okay, I think Godfred, your question is too flat because we spoke about generally how you can apply. So maybe you joined in late. So what I will say is that take your time. After the session is done, the video will still be on YouTube. Kindly take time because we have mentioned so many steps. Which took us about an hour and 20 minutes already, which we cannot go back and say everything. So after the live, make sure you go on YouTube and watch the video again. Take your time, go over it step by step because we spoke about many things. You need to know all of them and not just one sentence. So please, after the live, make sure you go and watch the video again and gather those knowledge. We said a lot about applying for school already, and we may not be able to go back and tell you everything now.
Okay. What
Okay,
any contact? Any helpline?
come again.
Any helpline
Help line.
or any contact?
Okay, so the Freddy Fet, if you want to book an appointment with the Freddy Fet, go to his social media handles, go and work it out. I mean, if you want to, I don't know why you want a helpline, but then the Freddy Fet is always there. If you want to book a consultation with the Freddy Fet, go to his pages and link up with him on his social media handles.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much, Godfred, for coming on. We really appreciate you here. Let me bring Ola on board so we can spend maybe the next 6 minutes or 7 minutes to look out for those comments. So let me bring Ola on. Ola, how's it going?
Yeah, fine. Good day, everyone.
Yeah,
And
good
Mr.
day.
Fred, yeah, thank you. First and foremost, let me appreciate you guys for a wonderful job you are doing. My issue is I got an admission to
I was one that said I applied for a course. I applied digital forensic and cybersecurity. But I used Empower to back up some funds that I had because of the rate of denial. F1 visa in Nigeria, I did not apply for the visa, so I deferred the admission to this fall. And currently, I'm now in the UK. But people are still telling me that I should not apply because anything Empower is a red flag according to the experience. So my fear is, should I should I continue with the admission? I've did the evaluation of my transcript. My CGPA fell to 2.70. So I don't know if I apply an IT related course or I should still continue with that course I had offer already, then try and get some scholarships. I don't know. I'm just confused. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. So I don't know if Fred, if you got the question very well.
Phil, I was finding it difficult.
Okay, so what he's saying is that he has applied to a school, but then his friends are telling him that anyone who goes with Empower is a red flag, so he shouldn't go ahead with that. What is your advice for him?
Oh, there are a lot of people who have actually gotten their visas with Empower. So it's not about. So the most important thing is that you have some form of financing or sponsorship. So either it was a bank statement, a scholarship, or the most important thing is since your I-20 has been released, then you stand an equal chance of getting your visa as compared to anybody. Now, what you need to do is not to worry about the kind of funding you are receiving, but you have to prepare very well and be able to respond to questions related to the funding. How are you going to pay back when you get this loan? You should be prepared to answer the questions at the embassy. So focus on building up your story, your DS-160, get it reviewed by people who have been through the process and all that, and prepare very well for the interview. Are there people who are studying in the US on Empower loan? Yes. Are there people from Nigeria studying on Empower loan in the US? Yes. Would you be the first person? No. Would you be the last person? No.
Okay. So Ola, thank you so much. Come again?
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to ask one more question. Okay, yeah. So the second question is, after evaluating my transcript, my CGPA is now 2.70. Can I still get admission to study computer science in any state school and probably get funding?
Is it your CGPA is what?
2.7?
2.70.
2.70.
That's for the evaluated transcript.
2.7 is great. 2.7 is great. So I can, there's a school that is actually having a computer science related program. They are waiving application fee from 4th to 11th. Stay tuned. I'll drop the name of the school and then you can apply to it. So yes, you can. You can.
Okay, so let's bring Aziz on. Aziz.
Yes. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Aziz. Can we have you?
Yes, please. Well, please, my question is this. Mr. Fred, I think this is my second time speaking with you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's the same issue. I'm a diploma nurse with 3 years of, what's the name, diploma. And I've been practicing for the past 3 years now. But the problem is, usually some of us don't have that kind of exposure to what you people are doing. It's really now that I've been following you, and I think it's really exposing me to this. So most of my friends here, we are looking for such opportunities, but really we are not getting it. But I'm really happy with what you are doing, and God richly bless you. So the question is, Mr. Fred, please, how can you help me with my 3 years of diploma to secure an admission and what's the name, a scholarship?
Okay.
But so, with my transcript, I have a CGPA of I think 3.32.
Okay. So at the moment, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. At the moment, my team currently take people with high school and diploma. We take your document and work on the application for you for free. But you need to schedule a private 30-minute conversation. One, to know you are serious about it. And we will take your document after the conversation. We'll explain the entire process to you and work on the application for you, only for bachelor's degree. So now coming to answer your question, with a 3-year diploma, you can apply for a bachelor's degree as a transfer student, which means that you'll be continuing from maybe level 300. You can also use your HND to apply for a master's degree. However, to increase your chances, you need to go through the evaluation. So based on 1, the documents, 2, the resources, and the time you have, what would you go in for? A master's, do the evaluation and go through that route, or you want to go in for the top up or the bachelor's degree?
Okay. Okay, so Aziz, you make time and book appointments with the Fred Effect and his team to help you on that. I think we can pick one for now. So okay, so Helena has been here for some time, so we can quickly pick Cassie and then pick Helena, and then we'll be wrapping up. Cassie.
Hello, good evening, Fred. Please,
Okay.
good evening. Good evening.
Cassie, good evening. Let's go, and we can hear you. Okay, Cassie's
Please,
network is.
I'm a level 300 student. I'm a level 300 student. I'm offering procurement and supply chain. I want to know if transfer is advisable or not, and also will I get scholarship if I decide to
Okay.
transfer from Ghana to US.
Okay.
So it depends on what you want to do. The question is transfer possible? Yes, it is possible. If you are going to get scholarship or not depends on your current academic credentials. So what is your CGP at the moment? What are the documents that will be required if you want to get a full scholarship as a transfer student? So yes, it is highly possible, but it depends on what you want to do. Do you want to graduate and then apply for masters? Would you be able to get the required documents? So, for example, if you want to transfer, it means that you need to get your current full, 3-year transcript from your current university. Are they going to give it to you when you've not graduated? Would you be able to get recommendation letters when you've not graduated? Would you be able to get English proficiency letter from your school when you've not graduated? So the point is that it's possible, but it depends on whether you would be able to come up with the documents required to do that.
Okay. So, Cassie, that's your response. Your network is delaying, so I know it's kind of delayed for now. So, thank you so much, Cassie, for joining in. Helena has been here for some time. I think we can pick only Helena for now. Helena, your camera is off. Can you please turn it on and then I bring you on quickly? Okay. Helena isn't ready, so let's bring Jinyame. Jinyame will be our last person for today. Jinyame, can we have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get you, sir. Uh, my question is, I'm a teacher.
Jinyame, your network is really very bad.
At the same time, my financial background is poor.
Jinyame, I'm sorry. The network is really bad. I'm sorry we cannot pick you for now. Our time is already up. We want to wrap up today's session. It's really been insightful. I think I saw one question here I wanted us to wrap up with, Mr. Fred. Let me catch that question again and then we wrap up with that. Okay, let's pull up this person's JM's question and then we wrap up with that. I am a newly admitted student in NYU in Dubai campus. Oh, Dubai campus. Wow. Is a full ride scholarship. It's a full ride scholarship plus a plane ticket and a monthly stipends. If I transfer to their main campus, will it affect my scholarship?
So this would definitely be a question to the admissions office or the director of the program before you transfer, because they are going to facilitate everything. So you have to know whether it is going to affect your scholarship or not.
Okay, so we'll be wrapping up. Mr. Fred, before we go, what are your final words for our people who join us today? What motivation words do you have for them?
So to everybody listening to us, it's great you took a good step by subscribing to Filler GH TV and also being with us on this life. This is how the good way to go. It's okay if you have not started anything yet. It's still not too late. There is always a school to apply to. There's always a college to apply to. If you do not have the required document, that shouldn't be a problem. Now that you know the documents that you need to get, please start taking a step. So that professor that it's been a long time, you contacted him, start talking to him for recommendation. If you do not have a passport, no problem. Now you know that to be able to travel, you need the passport. So please start working on one. Now, Fela has been able to do it, so can you. Fred has been able to do it, so can you. We are not better off than you, neither are we more brilliant than you. Some of us are even from a poorer background, but we've been able to do it. We are not saying that everybody should study abroad, but if there is an opportunity like this to explore, we encourage you to also explore it. So there are a lot of ways and means you can get in touch with Fela. Is always on TikTok. Like, follow him and then listen to the advice, ask your questions, and then get them answered. It's always a positive thing for us to educate you on how you can go about it based on our experience of going through. We used to be at the same place you are, and we've been able to get here. So can you. So please take the step, be encouraged. If you have a low CGPA, it shouldn't be a problem. If you are from a poor background like some of us, ours should serve as a motivation to you. If you had a D7 or E, don't be discouraged. There is always an opportunity for you to explore. So, Fela, I appreciate you for the opportunity given me to be on your platform to share my knowledge and ideas with your followers. We hope that we can, continue to do this more often and be helping our brothers and sisters to also make their dreams come through. I appreciate your time.
All right. But before you go, many people wanted to know how they can contact you. So if you could add that, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm very responsive on Instagram. So on all my platforms, it's the Fred Effect. So first of all, do us a favor and subscribe to the Fela GH YouTube channel. Please subscribe. There's a lot to benefit when you subscribe to the channel. So on all platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the same name, the Fred Effect. But if you want to chat me, the best way to do it is on Instagram. My Instagram handle is verified. It's the Fred Effect. So you go to Instagram and you send me a private message. On all my social media platforms, there is a way that we can schedule a private one-on-one conversation. So you click on the seller link and then we can get to talk one-on-one. I appreciate the time, Fela.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Fred. So, like I said, if you didn't join this session, then you really missed a lot. For your friends, your families, your mates who didn't join today's session, let them know that after the session, it will still be saved on YouTube. So at any point in time, if you want to come back and get to know any detail the Fred spoke about, you can always come back and watch the video live. If your friends didn't come up here or get a time to watch us on live, the video is always active or still available on YouTube. Let them come to Fela GH TV and then come and watch this insightful content. Like I said, it has always been a pleasure to be around the Fred. I mean, I said this before, that for many people who are here on a student visa, many people, the inspiration came from Mr. Fred. And so insightful it has been for us here. No, Mr. Dio isn't here. So thank you so much for joining in. I really, really appreciate. If you haven't followed or subscribed, kindly subscribe, set on your notification so that whenever you go on live, we make a post, you can come and then watch and learn. Now, I do not take pleasure in, seeing you or responding to you always from Ghana. It's fun being here, coming on live, sharing your experiences, and then linking together and making a bigger family. And that is why, or that is what inspires me to come up here and educate you on how you can also make your American dream a reality. For all those who make time here, thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate. Have a good one. Bye.